There we go. Can y'all hear us now?
Testing, testing. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Okay. Tabitha gave me a thumbs up.
Woohoo! Okay.
Not Tabitha. Cool. We'll do.
Shannon using Tabitha's phone or computer.
I noticed. I'm like, Tabitha's looking different. Wow, the room is packed. It's a sold out house here. Hi, how are y'all? Good morning. Is it still morning? Good afternoon. So welcome to Innovative Marketing. This is really exciting because this is the first time ever that they just asked me what I wanted to teach. And I just said, hey, how about this thing? Because I know that whenever I got into real estate, I took a thing called Ignite. Remember Ignite, Mike? And the first thing we talked about, I don't even think they talk about it anymore. Well, the first thing we talked about at Ignite was something that's going to get really annoying, that noise. The first thing we talked about was unique value propositions or unique selling propositions, UVPs, USPs, whatever you want to call it. And it was interesting because the coach at the time was like, you have to have a unique proposition of value for why you are the best candidate to sell these people's house, right? And so it was funny because the coach kind of went through the room and was like, hey, you go ahead and tell us, what do you think your unique value proposition is? And here's the funny part. Everyone said the same thing. Now, I don't know if you guys know the definition of the word unique. I did really well on the SATs, so I do, but let me just explain it. Unique means different. So if everyone had the same one, probably not particularly unique, right? And so what everyone said in one way or another was, hey, the reason I am unique is I give great customer service. That was it. That's what they all said. Yeah, I give great customer service. That was their proposition of value. And I thought, wow, I can't wait to go and talk to some of the top producers to hear what their unique value proposition was, because clearly the Ignite kiddos, they didn't get it. So I went and started talking to some of the top producers in the office, which, by the way, are still the top producers today. And I was like, hey, what's your unique value proposition? We talked about it in Ignite. I know you probably got a great one. And they were like, oh, we give great customer service. And I was like, okay. Humor me then. I'm a seller, right? I'm selling a house. Why are you better than the other 39,999 agents in the Dallas-Fort Worth area? And they were like, oh, second to none in customer service. I was like, okay, yeah. So we're gonna have to dig in it. What I heard there is there's some opportunity here to differentiate ourselves. And so today we're going to talk about it's things to help you sell listings. God, that sound is annoying. It's going to be we've got to be able to stop that. I'm not going to be able to handle that. That might have done it. Okay. So these are things to help you sell listings, but really there are more things that help, right? I call them shiny objects. And here's why that's important to understand. Sometimes when we're differentiating ourselves, well, let me just give you a great example. If you've ever watched a car commercial, they generally have the vehicle going around a mountain on roads really fast, like when it's raining or snowing. Are you going to do that? Probably not, but you can, right? And so some of these things that you're demonstrating to your seller, it's stuff that you can do. It's stuff that you might do, but it's not necessarily always stuff that you're going to do or stuff that's actually going to sell the house. That's really important to understand. There's no deception there. It's who can show the prettier shiny objects to get the seller to hire you, right? Because here's the dirty little secret. 89% of listings are sold because I am a listing agent and I have a listing and you are a buyer's agent and you have a buyer. Okay, so shiny objects live in the other 11%. So I get it. They're cool. Really, they're just to get the seller to hire you. Cool. So let's jump into the first part here. Is that not gonna work? Okay, we'll do it old fashioned. So the first, hi. What does that mean? You want me to share my Zoom screen? Oh,
Okay, now they can see. Sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you, Diana. So now the first slide here is titled Web Addresses. And I know this class is already sexier than you thought it was going to be. So we're going to talk about web addresses. Now here's what I mean by web address. Okay, can I give you a script? Can I give you a great script for it? Will you play the role of a seller here? You have like 2 lines and you'll know exactly what they are. Okay. Hey, Mrs. Seller, I've noticed you definitely own your home here at 123 Main Street, right? Do you own your web address here at 123 Main Street? I don't know. Huh. I do. Do you want to see it?
Sure.
Okay. So here's the idea here. Most of the time, every real estate agent has a website. We all have a website. By the way, so it would not, let's just go back to what we were talking about before. It would not be unique to say, I'm going to put your listing on a website. No one would think that was unique or cool. And yet most real estate agents, they put your listing on a website, and the website is something to the effect of http:// the name of their website.com /125835 exclamation point percentage sign / ASP dot. And it's like, it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. What if you were just to say, hey, I've got a listing at 123 Main Street. Why don't you check out 123mainstreet.com? Wouldn't that be cool? So now you're probably thinking, Thomas, that sounds expensive and complicated. It's not. It's $12 for a year. So that's $1 a month. I understand getting into real estate is hard and money. You could probably afford $1 a month. Probably. Come see me for a loan. 200% interest. So I'll give it to you. So go visit 123mainstreet.com. That makes it so much easier, right? And that's through GoDaddy, by the way. You could probably find it on another hosting site for cheaper. And then you can forward that to your weird long URL website, right? So, but it's really cool to be able to show up to a listing appointment and say, hey, do you own your web address? And they're going to say no, they don't. And to go, oh, cool, I do. Why don't you visit it on your phone or pull it up on your tablet? And they pull up your website and it's fully built out. Are you going to get the listing? You're probably going to get the listing. No one else did that. No, I'm not clicking the right computer. Hold on. That's not the right computer. There's a lot of screens here. Hold on. So here's what that would look like. So I've got a listing at 4106 Holland Avenue in Dallas. And so I would show up to my appointment. I did this, by the way. I show up to the appointment. Hey, do you own 4106hollandavenue.com? No? Okay, I do. Bah, website. It obviously doesn't look exactly like this when I show up because I haven't done photos yet. This was an expired listing. So I had photos. I had a price in mind. I had all sorts of stuff that I could build it out and make it look like a functioning website. It is a functioning website. So you're probably going to get the listing if you do this. Okay. So now you're probably thinking, Thomas, what did you build this web page with? I built it with something called Lead Pages, but we'll get into that in a minute. So the other thing that you should probably keep, let me get back to the slideshow here. The other thing that you should probably keep in mind, where is the slideshow? Diana, I broke it. Oh, that's kind of cool.
I'm on my way.
You guys may not believe this, but I used to work at a company called Best Buy. And they didn't teach me how to use a computer. Okay, so the next thing you should think about is nicknaming your listings. Here's what I mean by that. I've got a listing out at 153 County Road 2130 in Decatur. That's not a super sexy URL. 153 County Road 20. I fixed it, I think. I'm not gonna. 153 County Road 2130 is not a super sexy URL. And so it's a huge house. It's like 7,000 square feet. And I was like, how many square feet you have to be a mansion? It's 5,000. I looked it up. And so I was like, well, it's a mansion and it's in Decatur. This is the Decatur mansion. So I nicknamed it. When you watch HGTV, they never, whenever they're doing the property searches or whatever, they always name it the blah, blah, blah house and the this house and the whatever house. Why can't we do that? So I name my houses now. And I forgot if that was the example I used here. Oh, I've got another listing at 512 McFarland up in Pilot Point. This is the McFarland Mansion, and it actually is that. It's historically known as that. And so you don't always have to make the web address the address of the property. You can nickname them. It's cool. Clients love to get the idea that they're going to own a landmark, right? And so if you name your properties, it kind of becomes a landmark. Now, if you're just listing a subdivisional home inside of Oakmont or something like, or in Wheeler Ridge or something, probably not going to nickname that property. That's a house in a subdivision, right? These are unique. You can nickname these. Okay. Let's see if I can figure out the hieroglyphics of getting. Nope, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. We're going to figure it out one of these decades. See, it blocks me from getting to my my tabs up here. There we go. Okay, so here's the thing to understand. In Command, the web pages are unlimited and free. Okay, so you can build unlimited web pages in Command, and I suggest you do so. So an example of what one of these looks like in Command is this. This is for a listing we sold a couple months ago, but I keep the website up for demonstration purposes. I'm not Katie Bauer. There we go. Now, I know what you're probably thinking just right off the bat. Hey, this website is not as pretty as the one I was showing earlier. It's not. It's not supposed to be. But it was really, really easy to build. It took minutes. So you could always show up to a listing appointment with something like this build. This pulls automatically from the multiple listing service. It pulls the property descriptions. It pulls the photos. I mean, I think it took us, I don't know, 3.5 minutes to build this website, right? So websites are great, and websites are not unique. But if you buy the web addresses, that sort of becomes unique. Does that make sense? Everyone on board with that? So the prettier squeeze pages, that's what these are called. They're not really websites. They're a web page. If you want a prettier squeeze page subscription than what we have free in Command, I use leadpages.net. That's my favorite one. That cost me $300 a year. So I'll charge it once. So I understand it's a big expense. That's why I say Command is free. So if you want to use Command, it's free. If you want this, it's $300 a month.
Thomas, what, for your main site,
Mhm.
have those pages on, who's hosting those, or who's hosting that, or where do you have that running through your main site? Those are just pages, right?
Yeah, those are just pages. Well, they're standalone pages though, and it's all through lead pages.
Okay.
I do it all through.
Your main,
My eavesrealtygroup.com is the Command site.
okay.
Yeah. No, I run my main website through Command. I think they've done a really good job with that. There are some things that I wish were more customizable, which are on the roadmap, as is everything. But no, it works. So I just do the property specific websites through lead pages, and I do some other stuff through lead pages as well. Actually, so that as a good segue into my next point. So there's other special URLs that you can do as well. One of the best things I ever did for my business was I wrote my marketing strategy down. I know that sounds stupid, but generally whenever we're going to a listing appointment, especially when we're new, there's even mixing here. There are people that have been in the business for years, and there's some newbies. I was never a fan of using the template that the brokerage gave me. I was like, this brokerage has like 180,000 agents. So there's a good chance I'm competing with another Keller Williams agent, which is awesome. That's great. Let's go compete. And I don't want to show up with the same thing. I recently took a listing in Wiley, and I showed up to the appointment, and there were 3 Ebby Halliday folders on the counter. And I was like, why did that agent bring you 3 folders? And they said, no, that's 3 different agents. It was the exact same folder, full of the exact same stuff. I was like, no. So let's go back to unique value prop. There's nothing unique there. So So the best thing I ever did was I took my market, I thought about it, I went, what am I going to do differently? And then I wrote it down on paper. Okay. And it was really ugly, but it was mine. It was unique. The next best thing I did was I put it into commands in designs and I made it pretty. The third best thing I ever did. Right. So now if someone says, you know, what do you do that's different than every other listing agent on the face of the planet? And I say, well, I would love to explain that to you. And yet you could just go over to eavesmarketingstrategy.com and look at it there. Okay. By the way, I built that website in about 10 minutes. It took no time at all. I took the template that they had and it was not that. And it's got this that pops up. If it gets the idea, if this website gets the idea, this is what you pay $300 a year for. If this website gets the idea that I'm about to navigate away from this page, it pops up this pop-up. It's like, hey, you can get a free video listing consult, which we find annoying, and yet it's very effective. It works. People fill it out all the time. So you can use these URLs for other things. It's $12. It's $12 a year. Okay. So and then this is the only one I have. There's I hate when Diana's right, but I'm gonna put the keyboard here. No, well, for the web, the URL that you're buying on GoDaddy to host that URL, yeah. So and you can link those anywhere. You don't have to build a page or whatever. You can link it to any website. You can link it to your regular website, right? So so I just typed in Eaves Realty TV and it pulls up my YouTube channel, right? I can type up. It's a horrible banner, by the way. Remember when I had hair, guys? And then what was it? Eaves Realty Concierge. So I own, I don't know, probably 50 web addresses nowadays, which is probably getting a little outrageous. But the next slide here is about the benefits of SEO. When people are searching for a marketing strategy on Google, my stuff's far more likely to pop up, right? Because my website's actually getting traffic. It says marketing strategy all over it. It knows where I'm based. So the search engine optimization is actually better as well. It's a lot easier to direct traffic to these websites than to www.mygenerickellerwilliamspage.com / percentage sign, etc. Right? Does that make sense? So web URLs are cheap. They are effective. They make an impact. And by the way, you don't even have to build out the website. Like, so remember how I talked about, going to a listing appointment and showing the website that's already built for them. You don't even have to build a page. You could just direct that URL to the page. You could just search for the listing on your Keller Williams site and just direct it to that URL. It's done for you. It's not complicated.
When it comes to creating that page, is that something that you did personally, or did you have?
I did it. And now keep in mind, I built the first one like 2 years ago, and now I'm just dropping new pictures into the same template, right? Yeah. It's a template. And I can show you how it works through lead pages. I find it to be really, really simple. I'm techie, but yeah, I've never used WordPress, so I don't know what the user interface is comparably. It's my favorite one to use. I've used some squeeze page website before. I've used Wix before. I didn't love it, but this has been the easiest one. It looks the most contemporary, right? I don't want stuff to look like I made it with MS-DOS Windows 95, and a lot of real estate websites. That's what it looks like. Every time you get a new listing, it sends you you guys get that email from Property Panorama? Hey, Property Panorama, check it out. We've got free virtual tour. It's not a virtual tour. It's like a really bad slideshow from like a 1995 PowerPoint presentation. Thank you. Super valuable. Love that. How much can we pay for that, you think? So anyway, let's go back to this. Okay. Have I cleared that one? Benefits of SEO, we just talked about that. Okay. So do we have any questions around web addresses, web URLs before we move on? And let me tell you, you could take the SEO class and then a month later it'd be vastly different. The people that specialize in SEO, like, I don't know, they don't have drinking, but they probably do have drinking problems. And I don't drink, so I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Wouldn't want to. Deanna says you can pay someone on Etsy to create your marketing materials. You can. Okay. We're going to move on to the next year. So we're going to talk about we're going to talk about virtual staging versus physical staging. So here's the thing. You've probably heard this before. In the absence of value, price is the only conversation, right? And what that basically means is that if you don't have any value, furthermore, if you don't know what your value is, then you're really, really apt to start adjusting your price downward, okay? And so if we look around us in the real estate industry, would it be accurate to say that there are a whole lot of people out there willing to cut their commissions? There's a whole lot of companies out there that have built models based on cutting commissions. List your house for nothing, buy with me and sell for free, 4% commission. I think Redfin does a 4% or something like that. And so it's like, okay, so what that tells me as a non-consumer, as someone who's been in the industry for a couple of days, that tells me that they don't know their value or they don't have any. Am I wrong? It's debatable, right? I mean, it's debatable. I don't think they have a whole lot of value. And I don't think they think that there's no value in the listing process. They think you put listings on the MLS, they sell, which is true in some markets. It's not true in today's market, right? It requires a little bit of a twinge of skill, right? So I'm trying to figure out how to put this in a way that, no, I'll just say it. I'm taking 7% commissions, and it's because I offer more value. And do you know how often I have the commission argument? Never. Does anyone go into a Lexus dealership and complain that it's more expensive than a Toyota Corolla? You don't. It's Lexus. You don't go to the Tesla dealership and go, I found a Honda Civic for cheaper. It's like, yeah, I know. And this is a Tesla. It's different, right? And so I don't go in with the commission argument. We don't have the commission. And if anyone asks me, do you negotiate your commission? I say, yes, usually up. So one of the easiest ways to justify a higher commission is to offer staging, okay? So there's virtual stage. Does everybody know what virtual staging is? Okay, it has a bad reputation, and for good reason, because there are some bad actors out there that that have gone to like galleryfurniture.com and copied and pasted some furniture into some real estate photos, and they're like, virtual staging. It's not virtual staging. We're actually going to go through some photos here in a second. I'm going to try to see if you guys can figure out which photos are virtual and which photos are physical staging. But the point is, you can justify a higher commission by offering value through staging, okay? We're going to talk about some of the costs associated with those as well. The way that I typically look at it is there's a time and place for virtual staging, and it's usually listings below about $350. Okay, they're below $350,000. There's probably not enough margin in the commission for you to pay for virtual staging or for physical staging. Okay, there are other situations like I've listed higher priced homes, but they have like one vacant room, right? And I live by the 3 Ds of staging, which is declutter, depersonalize, and define. Define means every room has to look like it actually is in your formal dining room. That buyers are overwhelmed. They're going to come in there and I think that house doesn't have a dining room. They're going to go, it was really weird. There was like a wide open bedroom right at the front of the house. There's not. So we define rooms as they are. And so sometimes virtual staging is appropriate. You photograph a vacant room, you digitally impose a table into it, right? So there's a time and a place for it. So we're going to go through some photos here, and we're going to try to determine which one is virtual and which one is physical. It's the same house, the same rooms. It's going to be super fun. Yep. Okay. Virtual's on the left. Everybody agrees? Not everybody voted, but okay. So correct. Virtual's on the left. What was the giveaway, by the way?
Right in the middle of the
I was gonna say the fire.
The fireplace.
I was gonna say the roof.
The roof. what's funny is that this is Hunter's photography, and this is my desperate attempt to photograph it because I messed up my appointment with him. So I did my best. This is virtual staging on the left here, and this is but the virtual staging was still Hunter's photography, and the physical staging, it's actually physically staged, but I took the pictures of the physical side. So there's some differences there. I'm not as good a photographer, and I don't claim to be. I'm meeting Hunter at 3. Okay, so okay, let's try another one. You ready? It's the same room.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, let's try a difficult one. Yeah. Do we think the virtual one looks bad?
Not bad.
Mm-mm. Do you think your average low attention span buyer who is scrolling through Zillow at 3 o'clock in the morning will notice?
On that, probably not.
Probably not. Some people have told me, they're like, well, Thomas, isn't it deceptive? I'm like, let's go back to the car driving around the mountain conversation. I'm not telling you what this house has in it. I'm showing you what it can do, right? People are like, but it's going to be vacant when they show up. Right, so they can see their stuff in it, right? There's a time and place for it. There's a price point for it. There's a situation for it. Ultimately, I took this listing and virtually staged it. It didn't sell, so I physically staged it. It did. The price point was $450 in Oaklawn. And let me tell you, you want some persnickety buyers, go to Oaklawn and sell a condo. Next slide. I'll tell you. We've got one more picture test here. Right side is virtual. Which one looks better? You think the one on the left looks better?
Oh, we have attendees that are voting on it.
Oh God, I haven't even seen it. Hold on.
I think they are.
I think the right looks better.
I think the right looks better. The right is virtually staged. The left is physically staged, which probably looks better in person. And that's a whole different conversation. The way that we photograph is not really the way that we live. I think you can be standing in a room and everything look fine. But then you look at it in 2 dimensions where everything is here and you go, that's terrible, right? So I guarantee you this room looks great whenever you walk into the condo. The big giveaway for me is this goofy wire that comes out of the lamp here. But yeah, I actually think in this particular situation, the
The angle on the room is better in the virtual staging as well. I think that's what really helps it.
that was Hunter versus me. Lost again. Yeah. Hunter has a full frame sensor camera. Yeah. 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 So the point is, this is not, cord looks awful on the left. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what to do about it. It's there. Yeah, you really do. Really do. To be fair, the stagers did not plug it in. I did. Anyway, so now we'll go into the prices like you were asking, Mike. So cost of staging, virtual staging, it's about $32 a photo. By the way, we don't tell our clients this. As far as the clients are concerned, it's $2,000 a photo. We don't tell them that. $32 a photo. I use boxbrownie.com. That's the one that I found is the most reliable. They're quick to respond. They do really, really good work. They take constructive feedback very, very well. If I go back to them and say, hey, that wall hanging is stupid, they change it within half an hour and go, here you go. They don't talk back. They're very, very good. Box Brownie is based out of New Zealand, which is kind of interesting because if you submit it at midnight, it'll be done really, really quickly because it's not midnight for them. So, yeah.
If you take pictures, your client has just awful sense of design. You go in, you get all the pictures of the furniture.
Yep.
And just erase that and put in the furniture. Or does it have to be vacant property?
It would probably have to be mostly vacant. I'm just Photoshop. I'm trying to think of how I would actually take furniture out of a room. I guess I could put furniture over it. That's a great question. That's a great question.
And to that question, would you recommend that? Right?
So here's what I would recommend. Design stuff. Yeah, if there's a way to change that, if you're coaching your client and they're not taking the hint, and there's a way to digitally take care of it otherwise, sure. We just want to make sure not to change any of the actual like architecture, right? We don't want to be deceptive. We're not changing wall colors. We're not changing. And it's like, wow, there wasn't a window there in the picture, and now there is. Like that's, we don't want to change stuff like that. But yeah, we've all had clients who think they're designers. All right. They offer all sorts of services, by the way. Virtual staging is just one of them. They offer, you've seen the really cool twilight photos of houses. You can just take a regular photo and they'll make it look twilight. They'll make it look dark and have the windows blown out. It's really, really cool. So I suggest going and checking out boxbrownie.com. They're very cool. Their website works kind of like a Dave & Buster's card. You import a certain amount of money and then you basically buy photos and it reduces it until you fill it up again. So I've enjoyed using them. It is appropriate for some others. It has a bad reputation. I really don't think it needs to. So the cost of physical staging, it's about $1,800. I have gotten 1,000 different answers to this question. It really depends on the company and this and that. Look, here's what I found. There's a company called the Design Quad, and the Design Quad has they call it an algorithm. It's a formula they put into every property. And so they stage the, oh, my chat box is in front of my thing here. They stage the living room, the kitchen, the dining area, 2 bathrooms, the master bedroom for $1,800 and some change. So if I'm going to front $1,800 to, and I don't suggest breaking yourself. If you don't have it, don't do that. You don't need to go get a credit card to stage your listing. But if you have it, can we justify an extra % on our commission by putting staging in the property? Yeah, this was a $450,000 condo. I spent $1,800 and made an extra $45,000. Those margins work out. That was worth it. That was absolutely worth it. So there are situations when physical staging is appropriate as well. And by the way, this is your client can pay for this too. So it's a situation where you're still adding value by presenting that option for your client, right? And by the way, that's another good point. For those, is anybody in here a Keller Offers certified agent? I think you are. Keller Offers Concierge, which is the new thing that has come out. They are offering staging. We can have the way that it works is basically Keller Offers pays for the staging up front, and then the client pays for it at closing. So that's an option as well. That's probably a different class.
Yeah, and these, I think these 2 are certified, so we'll have questions for them.
Yeah.
Kind of like Zillow offers, or they'll make an offer. If maybe you're having trouble selling it or something like that.
They're now offering a concierge service, which is, let's say you've got a house in Southridge Estates that like doesn't really match the comps because the kitchen is like 1995 style. Now we can offer renovation loans. So we can basically say, hey, it's going to cost about $5,000 to redo this kitchen. Tell you what, we'll pay for it, and you just pay us back at closing. That's how it works. So, your broker offers more value than any other company on the planet. And if you don't think that, you're not looking hard enough. And I love you.
That offers that, then why not go with?
Yeah. Right.
Cool. Thank you.
It's all built in. It's all on the same platform. So, okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is, so we've left staging. Now we're on our way into the migration study. One of the things that I offer sellers that they get almost nowhere else, I've never heard of anybody else that offers it, is something called a migration study. And the way that I phrase this, the way that I sell this value is I say, you've probably heard a lot of agents talk about the way they're going to market your listing. And yet what I notice is that most real estate agents use a shotgun approach, right? They're throwing mud at the wall and seeing what will stick. What if I could show you where specifically the people who are moving to your subdivision are coming from, and we could target marketing to that place? And they usually go, how are you going to do that? And I show them my migration study, which basically shows like, hey, the green dot is your house and the blue dot is where people are coming from. So this is a house in Shady Shores, by the way. Most of the people are coming from here, right? They're coming from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So where is our marketing money best spent? It's here, right? So if I now a couple of years ago, I had a listing in Lakewood in East Dallas, and whenever we went and did their migration study, there was a bunch of blue here, and there was a bunch of blue here. There were a bunch of blue dots here and a bunch of blue dots over here. Okay, so where were we going to spend marketing money with them? Not here. That's not where people were coming from. People were coming from the East Coast and from the Midwest, or from the West Coast and from the Midwest, right? Is that valuable? Of course it is. Why would we spend all of our marketing dollars on the places where people aren't coming from? Which doesn't make any sense. So yet another thing where we're selling like, no, we have more data than anybody else. We have more data. So how do we get that data? You all have access to an app called Forewarned, okay? And this is a little labor intensive, it is. But you can pull comps and you can see what properties have sold in a subdivision in the last 90 days, true or false. And if we click on the little TX logo there on MLS, it will take us to the tax rolls and we can see who owns that property, true or false. We can take that name and plug it into Forewarn with the name of the city they live in and figure out where that person lived previously, true or false. Ta-da, migration study. I know, it's weird, but you can do it. There's actually another, if you don't want to go that labor intensive, and I totally understand, I'm a geek, I enjoy it. But if you don't want to go that labor intensive, there is another option that I'd like to show you. Let's go over here, and we're going to go to a website you guys probably have never heard of called Command. And if you go into Command, what is Thomas's command password? Let's guess. Maybe it's that. Man, that was lucky. Okay. So if you go into Command and if you go into Referrals, which is this little guy over here, internet is blazing fast. Oh man. And go here to Map. We'll go here to Map. We're just going to go to, and then we're not going to search by production. We're not interested in that. We want to see referral patterns. We want to see referral patterns to Denton. Now, this is actually showing all the referrals we're sending from Denton out all over the country. That's not going to be valuable for a listing appointment. If we click right here, Received, well, would you looky there. 5% of the referrals passed to Denton came from Dallas. And if we actually think about like who's buying our listings up here in Denton County, there's a lot of people migrating north. That makes sense to me. That makes good logical sense. And so you see, most of the people moving to Denton are coming from other places in the Metroplex. But look at this. Tucson, Arizona. Isn't that weird? So this is just something, and by the way, here's what I do. If you're on a Mac, you can do Command-Shift-4. And if you're on a PC, you can just go down here to the search and type in snip. And then just, it's thinking. And then just, if it ever started working, what it would show you is that you can actually just take a screenshot of this. You could print this out on legal paper and take it to your appointment and go, look, here's where people are coming from. Super easy, super convenient, a lot less labor intensive. It's less specific, it's not down to the subdivision, just the city, right? Still valuable, though. Still valuable. So if I'm in a pinch, then this is what I'll do.
How long does it take you to do it using Forewarn?
Depends on how many people have moved into that neighborhood, right? So the example I've got here is Cielo Ranch over in Shady Shores. I went back the full year and there's only 8. I could pull 8 in about 15 minutes. right? About 2 minutes per contact. But like if you were to look in Wheeler Ridge, where there's been 24 in the last 90 days, that's going to take a minute.
So you just generate that yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Just throw them in there?
Yeah, this is from Command. This image, this graphic, I went into designs in Command, and I just added some of these stupid little, whatever you would call these, pinpoints. I mean, it's easy. Really, really easy. If you haven't played around in designs, it's fun. You should do it. Use forewarn, use command referrals. Any questions on migration study before we move on? Text for info signs. This is pretty common. You guys have seen these. Have you been to any listings lately? I saw one the other day, and I will not mention the brokerage, Century 21, but they had a box full of soggy flyers in front of their listing, and I thought that was so funny. Did you guys remember soggy flyers? Soggy flyers are really interesting because you don't know who's taking them, right? You don't know if it's the kid getting off of the school bus, making it into a paper airplane. You don't know if it is a burglar trying to figure out whether or not the house is vacant so they can come steal the copper out of your air conditioning at night. You have no idea who's taking that piece of paper. And I don't know about you, but I like leads that I can track and contact and convert and talk to, and like that. That's what I like. You can't do that with pieces of paper, okay? We all put our phone number on our sign, and I think that's great. It's awesome. Put your phone number on the sign. It's great. A lot of us aren't awesome about answering our phones, and sometimes it's not because we're just bad at answering it. Sometimes we're like busy. Sometimes we're busy, okay? Now, maybe you have a call service, so maybe you've got an answering service, and that's amazing. I don't. And so I prefer for my clients to text. And so you can pay a company, you can pay agenttext.com $8 a month for this service. You can just have fast signs, print up some signs, and do this through your CRM. It's very, very easy. But basically, we set it up to where they text a code to a number, and it instantly shoots them information about the property. Except mine doesn't. Mine always pretends like there's an error. There's not an error. I'm not giving you any information until you've given me your information, right? And so my script, after they text this number, and it says, error, no information. I call them, and I go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I saw that you texted my number, and it didn't give you the information on the property. Gosh, I'm such an idiot. Anyway, so you're looking to buy a house? Right, and then we go into the script from there. So text for info signs are a really good idea. You should do them. No soggy fireboxes. They're actually trackable contacts and leads. You can convert these to a buyer. And listing opportunities. How often do we have nosy neighbors texting the sign? All the time. Oh, I just live down the street. That's awesome. When are you selling your house? Do you want one of these cool signs? Trunk is full of them. So here's the other cool thing about text for info signs. You should put lights on your signs. So I think it was a company called Compass that came out like 2 or 3 years ago, and they were like, the most innovative company on the planet. And they've got LED lights on their signs. And I was like, I was doing that like a decade ago. These solar lights are $20 at a store you guys probably haven't heard of. It's called the Home Depot. You just go, they're solar powered. You just go and you stake them in the ground in front of your signs. And your sellers will go, wow, that looks cool. So people going on like 3 a.m. Whataburger runs, they're seeing your sign. And your sign looks better than everybody else's. I suggest putting solar lights on your signs. 24/7 attention. You're going to impress your sellers. I have a text message from my seller saying it was cool just the other day. Promise. You should do it. It sets your sign apart. Everybody else's sign is. And what time is it getting dark nowadays? Like 6. So you're telling me there's no valuable traffic between 6 and the following morning? I guarantee you there are. Go put some stupid solar lights on your sign. It's a good idea. You should do it. $20. Okay, we're moving on. Oh, Loom. We got to talk about Loom. I love Loom. If you want to talk about the biggest contributor to me quadrupling my business in 2020, it was not Loom. It was hiring an assistant. But the second highest was Loom. So have you guys ever heard of BombBomb? I hate it. So anyway, Loom is sort of a version of BombBomb that I think is a little bit more user-friendly. It's faster. I find it to be easier to use. And it looks just like this. Look at that handsome guy. And so what it does is it superimposes your face over whatever's on your, kind of like Zoom and your web browser. And you can, so this was an expired listing, okay? This is where I'm meeting Hunter this afternoon, so this video went well. So this is an expired listing. And so I just loomed my little face up there, and I told this seller what I would do different with their listing. It's a 10-minute video. And so when they open up their email, they see a little picture of me, and they see their house, and they go, whoa, that guy's talking about my house. How likely is it that they're going to push play? It's very likely. And in the next slide, you'll see how that gets even more interesting. So Loom is a Google Chrome extension. So if you're not using Google Chrome, hi, welcome to 2020. It's time to get on the horse. If you're a Safari purist, I love you, and it's time to get to Google Chrome. I use this for lead generation. I use it for lead follow-up. I use it for nurtures. I use it for price reductions. A lot of us really struggle to have those fierce conversations with our sellers about reducing prices or about what's going on in the market. I understand they're tough conversations to have. And they're tough conversations to have over the phone because all they can hear is your tonality and your words. They can't see your body language, and they can't see your eyes, and so they can't feel your sincerity necessarily. If I send them a Loom video, then they see all of that. And I can pull up my research, right? I can show them what I'm looking at. I can say, look, here's what the trends are doing. Here's the most recent comps in your neighborhood. Here's what I'm seeing on my end. This is why I feel it's justifiable that we reduce your price, right? And so I send them that Loom video and I say, please give me a call. Here's the thing. I did this 3 times this week. I got 3 price reductions. It was very easy. I find it to be more sincere. I want people to be able to see me. I think the best form of contact is face-to-face, right? In this day and age, face-to-face is terrifying for some people, but it's also really inefficient. It's also really inefficient. I'm not going to drive out to Decatur every time my person needs to have a price reduction. And he didn't like to talk on the phone any more than I do. So I send him a Loom video and I go, hey, here's my research. Here's what I think we should do. And here's why I think it. And they usually respond, okay, and we just do it. So this is great. This is great. If you're not using Loom, you probably should be. Any questions about Loom?
I'd like to watch the video if you have it.
I'll send it to you. This one's 13 minutes long because I went way too long. They used to be 8 minutes, and then they got up to 10, and now they're up to 13. I don't know. I like to talk. I like to hear myself talk. Okay. Oh, flyers in Command. Yeah. If you're not making like your open house flyers in Command, you probably should be. It's they're really pretty. They rolled out, I think this is 11 by 17 paper. I think last year. So that's what like the front of the booklet looks like. This is what the middle. This is another thing you should take to the listing appointment. Take this to the listing appointment. Don't wait for the open house. Show up to the listing appointment and go, here's what our flyers look like. Because your person is seeing what the other. I do a lot of expired listings, so my brain goes right toward that. But I'm thinking about what other agents have left them, what other agents have shown them. What other agents have probably shown them has either been the property panorama example, or it is the MLS sheet, right? You professionally designed and printed. It's cool. Now I have to, and it pulls directly from the MLS, right? So all this stuff, I don't have to go and upload photos and go and copy and paste the property description. It just does it for you. And we put Melanie's face down there because she's much prettier than I am. So I have to input a disclaimer here. Please stop messing with the formatting of these designs, unless you really know what you're doing. There is an agent in this office, and I love her. I will not name her, and I love her. And she's not a designer, and she thinks she is. And so she'll come into this beautiful. This is somebody went to college to design this, okay, for like at least 4 years, put themselves in a ton of debt, and then you come in and go, oh, If only everything was different. And then start changing the sizes and the fonts and the colors. Don't do that. Don't do that. Stop. You should let them do it. You practice real estate. You be a great real estate agent and let them be great designers, and you just take advantage of that leverage. Okay. So that is my disclaimer for the day. Don't stop changing the format. And I love her. She's a great person, and she shouldn't change it. Okay. Final thing, guys. MailTrack. I thought that this was a website to find attractive single men, but it wasn't. No, I'm just kidding. So MailTrack is a way for you to track your email opens and your email link clicks. This is crucial. Something that I've been in talks with the labs team about for the past year, and I'm really excited that we're getting very close to having something like this, is something called conditional drip campaigns. If you were to set up a drip campaign today, chances are you would have to tell that particular communication, be it a text, an email, what have you, prompting you to do a task, you would have to tell it what time, right? You would have to either set a delay, like I want this to send out 15 days from now, or you would have to set a time. I want this to send out on January 15th, 2021 at 8 a.m., right? What we're working on is something called conditional drip campaigns. And they opened the email and engaged with the content, and so now it sends them the follow-up, right? And so that doesn't exist yet, and so I do it manually. But the way that I decide, we're all familiar with funnels, right? Funnels are your contacts up here, and then you've got your nurtures, right? And the funnel gets smaller and smaller and smaller, right? If you're sending out emails, right? Let's say you send out 500 emails and 400 people do not engage with the email, okay? Those people are still contacts. But what if you've got a whole bunch of the other 100 people that opened your email? Well, hey, that's a little bit warmer. They opened the email. Well, hold on. What if we can now see who opened the email multiple times? And they open the email at midnight, and they open it again at 8 a.m., and they open it again at 11:30, and they open it again at 1 p.m., and they open it again at 3:30. It's like, okay, that's a warm lead, right? And then what if we could see that they're clicking on links? They're clicking on your marketing strategy, they're clicking on your video, they're clicking on whatever content you put inside of that video multiple times throughout the day. Okay, that's a hot lead, right? That's the whole idea. We have to track our emails. Command doesn't do it yet. Wish it did. LionDesk, which is what I use, does. That's the whole reason I use that CRM. But if you don't have LionDesk, that's fine. This is called MailTrack. You can download it. It goes right into your Gmail, and your KW web email runs through Google, right? So you can just add this to your email. So there's a free version. If you get the free version, it's going to pop up at the bottom of your email and say, this email is tracked by MailTrack, which is fine. The pro version, I can't be paying more than $10 a month for it. It's really inexpensive. It's really, really inexpensive. And so I know, and here's the other thing, is that I know when my assistant has opened my emails. So there's no like, there can never be any like, oh, sorry, I missed that. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. I saw it. I saw you open it. I saw you click on it. No, you didn't. Title companies, they're like, so sorry, we didn't receive that. No, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Here it is. You just screenshot that. No, you did right there. So this is great, but it also lets you know when the right time to communicate is. If someone has opened your email 32 times in the last half hour, probably time to call them. Probably time, right? So this is the whole. If you've ever taken any of the labs courses, they talk about VSCO. If this is alien language, I'm sorry. I think Melissa's probably the only person in the room who knows what I'm talking about. But the V in VSCO is voyeurism, meaning we can see what people are doing on the back end, and it's so that we can better serve them, right? It's a consumer profile. So we like knowing what people are doing with the content that we're sending to them. We like to know whether they're engaging with it so that we can then engage with them. And we also want to know who's disengaged. That's valuable too. That's valuable too. So this, I'm telling you, can't be more than $10 a month. There's a free version. Use the free version. That's fine. It's just going to say off your email that they're being tracked. Any questions? Any questions to the people in the room? I can only see some of you. That's it. That's the end of my time.
So I liked your 3Ds of staging. That was huge. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, declutter, depersonalize, and define. And what I love about the 3Ds is that it's free, right? It's free. I was like, we're going to stage your house, and it's not going to cost you anything. And I have specifics around the decluttering thing. Like I only allow 3 items on a countertop. I don't allow anything on the floor that is not furniture. Like, so that wicker basket full of highlights magazine behind your couch, like that's not furniture. The Sterilite containers that are full of your sewing material, even though you don't know how to sew, like that is not furniture. That gets off the floor. That also includes closets. And people panic about that. I'm like, every closet's a walk-in closet if you can walk in it. So I do allow them to stack the garage. Another value that I've offered in the past is to get people a storage unit. It's $30 a month, and you usually get the first month free, and sometimes a month is all you need. U-Haul hates me for that. Like, you get a month free. I was like, perfect, that's all I need. So, you know, get your client a 3x5. Like, go put all of this in there. Define. So I'll go into depersonalize next. Depersonalize is, everyone's heard the remove your family photos. Yeah, and yet I take it a few 15 steps further. We remove diplomas. I don't need them saying like, wow, you're an aerospace engineer. You don't need my money. No, we don't need that. Sports team memorabilia. Like if a Green Bay Packers fan wants to buy your house, I don't want your game room decked out in Cowboys. I don't want that. We get rid of, it's always tough to talk about the religious stuff, but it's just like every religion has the same color money. And I would love for them not to feel pigeonholed here. So that's always a tough conversation, but we have it all the time. And the script usually goes like this, like, wow, this stuff looks really important. Tell you what, let's just go ahead and pack this away since you're moving anyway. That's how that script goes. I think that's all I've got in depersonalize. And then define. Define is a catch-all. Define means to define rooms as what they are, right? So dining rooms have to be dining rooms. Bedrooms have to be bedrooms. Everyone has flex spaces in their homes that are not meant to be flex spaces. If you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, I need 3 bedrooms, okay? If you have a 5-bedroom home, maybe one of them can be a study, maybe we can allow that. But generally, I need bedrooms to look like bedrooms, and I need, thank you, Dennis. And I need I need formal dining rooms to look like formal dining rooms. I need studies to look like studies, etc. Right? So, but sometimes define is a catch-all for like sometimes like, hey, we need to define this room as not having green shag carpet. Sometimes it does. So define is your opportunity to throw anything in there that you need to that were not covered by the previous Ds. Any other questions? You've got, oh wow, it's right at 1 o'clock. Never mind, I gotta go. Just kidding. I will hang out for like 5 minutes if anybody wants to pick my brain. Otherwise, that's it. I don't have any other nuggets to share with you. My pleasure. Bye, Zoom.
What addresses for your listings?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Once about street text.
Yeah. I am. So I'll give you the hard numbers on street text. It's a great platform. It really is. I have gotten 85 seller leads from street text over the last 90 days. So roughly 30 a month. 4 of those are good nurtures who will sell in the next 90 days. So, I mean, as far as conversion ratios go, that's not bad. I have spent $600 with them.
Yeah.
That's what I've spent with them, and I had to spend it up front.
Yeah, I recently signed up. So I was just
Yeah.
curious about if you had success.
So that's my seller leads result. I'm about to use them and see what they're doing for buyer leads. I'm interviewing them, and then there's another company called Book Me Solid, and I'm interviewing. My coach recently told me I'm not spending enough money on lead gen, which is a weird problem to have. want to spend my money with. Street Text has a good system. I like their UI. It's cool.
I'm wondering, you know, I'm using their funnels,
Mhm.
and I'm wondering if just doing it through command or my own personal website, I'm just kind of, you know, they have a split test. You know, whenever you, I don't know if you did the trial, but they do like a free split test.
Yeah.
So I'm experimenting with that.
That's what I picked, and it's good. I get. The problem is I get a lot of people that say just curious, and those people I don't. My personality side, I was like, I don't care if you're curious. But what I found is that some of those are really solid nurtures. And if I can be honest about command for just a moment, and I love what they're building, I really do. The link between command and Facebook breaks like every week.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was. Yeah.
It's breaking, and I'm sure they'll get right on fixing it. But we just talked about this. It's broken, and I'm sure they'll fix it.
Just have that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dollar spend is conversion.
Yeah. You also click once and it's done.
Right.
I mean, not that command isn't simplified. It is, but this is like super simplified. Like you push the button and it sets it up for you. Street Text is a platform that runs Facebook ads for you, and then it has some automation on the back end. So whenever you get leads, it follows up with them for you until you start engaging with the lead yourself. So, and I think it follows up for like 9 months or something like that. It's a pretty extensive thing, but it's Facebook ads. It's Facebook ads. It's what they just do it for you, and they follow up with them for you.
Yeah, I'm curious if you use like because I know LOOM. You're talking about LOOM.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I do. It's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
So whenever I get
your video.
Yeah. Yeah, I send them a video of it's my face over their comparables, and it's me going, "Hi, thank you so much for submitting a property valuation request on Facebook. Here's what I think. Please let me know if there's any additional information about your property I should know that would narrow this down." Because I give them a range, right? I don't narrow it down.
So you like because.
And then I can see when they watched it. Right.
So you're incorporating other outside.
Yeah.
Bringing them into the platform that already has some of the elements that exist, but some there's outside elements that are better.
Yeah. I think my tech is better. Because I can track, I can see when they're opening that email, how many times, what links they're clicking, how long, when did they watch the video, how much of the video, did they watch the whole video, did they watch up until a certain point? So I prefer to have all that information. So yeah, I generally take that information out of Street Text and I send it to them via Gmail, so I can track it through MailTrack. So that's what I do. Of course, my pleasure. Was there anything else? Mike, I know you were interested in lead pages. Or were you? Who was interested? Did someone say something about lead pages?
Yeah, I had asked you about just kind of how you were running your main site and then you talk about command.
Yeah, the main site's run through command. I set it up whenever it came out, and I assume it's still out there. I don't check on it.
You create these pages essentially through lead pages and add that to your command site as a page, right?
No, they're totally disconnected.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not connected. I mean, I guess I could. But yeah. One of the things that
Your URL, I noticed that it was still listed under like your Eaves Realty group.
Yeah. So it's just domain forwarding, right? I'm not even doing domain masking or anything. So you type in 4106hollandavenue.com, but it takes you to that weird URL, right? So could I mask it to where it sticks up there as 4106 Holland? Yeah. And I'm not good.
Yeah, which they're not, most of the time they're not going to pay attention to that anyway.
I wonder what Thomas's login is for this.
How easy do they make it for you to create a page?
Through this or through command? Yeah, it's pretty easy. There are a couple little nuances that are weird, but invalid username and password. I don't know. I don't know what my username and password is. No. You do not need to know how to code to use lead pages. No, I select a template that I think looks pretty, and I get one page the way that I like it, and I just, oh, here we go, and then I just make all my pages look like that. Nope, it's all included in the 300 a year. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's what it looks like on the back end. You can just see, I can basically, I click an element that I want to edit, and then over here, it pops out. I can change the size and the spacing and the fonts and all that good stuff. But the template is the same every single time, right? So I just change this information, and
Are you not a fan of
I use circle pics on my Facebook.
those are already just made for you?
Yeah, I think they look a little cheesy. I'm a snob. I think they look a little cheesy. But also, what I've noticed is that they usually show like the first 6 or 7 photos, and then that's it. Whenever I click on the website, I'm just like, I have 36 photos, and this is showing like 7. And some agents, the way they arrange their photos is you get 7 photos and you're not even in the house yet. And so I'm like, and then they've got the music to the dun, 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 dun. I'm just like, oh, here we go. This is more of an Evie Halliday product, I think. But yeah, I don't know.
Alternative if you don't want to pay.
Yeah, most people are probably not being. I picked on Compass. I didn't pick on Evie yet, had I? Oh yeah. Oh, Century 21 I thought was the one I made fun of with that one. Yeah, no. Century 21 have the soggy flyers. I make fun of everyone. I make fun of everyone. I make fun of everyone equally. We here at Keller Williams drink the Kool-Aid, right? I make fun of us too. I make fun of all of us.
Are you capturing people's information off of your website? Where are you sending it to? Your client desk? Yeah,
it imports right in there, and it starts them on a long-term seller drip or a long-term buyer drip. I mean, I still reach out to them, but I want them on the way I have mine set up is there's a 15-day delay anyway. So, and then they're on a 36 touch for long-term buyer drip. So that's how I set it up. The street text leads are the same way. All my street text leads automatically go on a 36 touch. And my 36 touches are all email, by the way. I know that's not the right way to do it, but it's when you're tracking it, when you're tracking engagement, email is fine.
Are these people getting your campaigns from street text, lion desk, command?
I turn off the no. I have found after 48 touches, that's too much. For my sphere of influence, it's a 48 touch, and that's about the threshold of as far as I can push it. A year, yeah. So, but it's like for the street text leads, for example, like once they are on a once I've engaged with them, once I've decided that is this a long-term nurture, or is this someone who's going to be ready in the very near future, I determine if it's someone who's going to be ready in the near future, I just leave them on the street text drip. If it's someone who's going to be like a year out, I put them on the long term, right? And I shut down the automation through street text.
I'm sorry, I have one question.
No.
But, I've noticed that on the funnels that generate seller leads, they give an email and an address.
Yep.
They want that valuation.
Yep.
And so, that's the information you have.
Yep.
Are you looking into forewarn to get more info to reach out? Like, would you call them if they give you their email and the address, but not a phone number? Because buyer leads all give phone numbers. Right?
Yeah.
Seller leads all give addresses. So, would you just go knock on the door? Would you just go over there and be like, hey?
Personally, no.
you have an address, you know they want a value.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I guess maybe
Figure out how to approach it.
maybe in a desperate moment, maybe I would. I mean, maybe you check Remind, because Remind plugs into the do not call. And if their mobile number is not on the do not call, maybe you text them. You set them up on the text automation through that.
What did you do? What is your
Here's the thing. And I know this is controversial. Thanks, bud. I do everything through email because I wouldn't recommend that for anyone who's not tracking it. But I'm tracking it. I know that they're opening it. I know that they're engaging it. I know, right? And so it would be one thing if you're just sending emails and hoping to get like an engagement or a response. No, I know, right? And at which point, so if they're really heavily engaging with something and but maybe they're not responsive, that would prompt me to call them.
Because yeah, what I'm doing is doing a quick CMA,
Mhm.
sending out the CMA through Gmail,
Mhm.
and then not hearing back anything, crickets. So if I had that mail tracker figured out.
Yeah, because you don't even know if they're opening it. You don't even know if they're opening it. You don't know if they're clicking it. So yeah, I would do that. I would do the Loom too. But yeah, MailTrack would help a lot with that. And then maybe you call them. I use something I probably should have put in here. I use, what is it called? SlideDial. I don't know if you're familiar with SlideDial. I have technically this is Sly Broadcast, same company, two slightly different products. SlideDial and Sly Broadcast are basically pre-recorded messages, right? So my Sly Broadcast that would go out to those people would say something like, "Hey, my name's Tom Eaves with the Eaves Realty Group. You requested a property valuation through Facebook recently. I just want to make sure that you got my email. Please give me a call back or just shoot me a text at this number if you have any questions." Right? They don't know that that's a phone call that goes out to all of those contacts. It doesn't say their name or anything, but it's very personable, and so that's maybe what I would do, is to automate that. That cost me a whopping like $4.99 a month or something. It's called Sly Broadcast. It's nothing. You can do it by
Subscriptions that are $10. It's like,
yeah. Oh yeah. No. And so here's the thing. I have a P&L that I have to do every month, right? And so I know that I'm currently spending 4% of my budget on lead gen, and I know that I could be spending 10. Not that I could, I should. So it's a ton of subscriptions, yes, but they're all accounted for. I have a chart of accounts that I know about it. There definitely was a time when that stuff got out of control. Yeah, the problem is if you write off too much, you end up, and they're like, "You made $20,000 last year." It's like, well, I didn't, but yeah. So I know. Happy medium. I know. I live it. It's rough. Any other questions?
but it's not that rough.
It is a first world problem.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, I'm gonna write too much off. Yeah. I'm making too much money. Oh no.
That's how I explain that phrase to my mom.
Didn't know what.
First world problem is having too much cash.
Yeah. It's just like, God, my back hurts because I'm sitting. That was a Seinfeld episode, by the way. Yeah. Cool. Well, without further ado.
Can we shoot you an email so that you can send us that video from Loom that you made?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Thomas@eavesrealtygroup.com. But if you want a business card, I'll give you.
Okay. He's gonna track your email.
That's fine. I'll know whether or not you have you've opened my email. Yeah, the Loom videos are cool. I used to do it via YouTube. The problem with YouTube, though, is that you have to upload it and you have to wait on it to process, and then you have to make it unlisted, and then you have to copy the link, and then you have to paste the link, and then you have to depend on them to click on the link, and that didn't work for me. That's a loaded question. Depends on how I'm feeling that month. What's that? Sometimes I do virtual tours. Like every time we have a new listing, we do something called a blue ribbon cutting, right? And so we'll do that on Facebook Live, and we'll post that to Facebook. So I've got two different YouTube channels. I have Eaves Realty U and Eaves Realty TV. Eaves Realty TV is for consumers. It's stuff like that. It's virtual tours. It's real estate information. I've got a cartoon, 4 videos that teach people how to buy houses. So that's Eaves Realty TV. And then there's Eaves Realty U. Eaves Realty U is for real estate agents to learn how to be real estate agents. And it was kind of a generation tactic to build my team. But to answer your question, not often enough.
How often would be the right amount?
Like a few times a week. There's an agent in Florida whose name escapes me, who is